by asking, why are you doing this interview, Cristiano? And he said, it's time to say something, and I like you. And I think that, I've seen Piers Morgan do interviews before, and it's just very, very comfortable. It is so comfortable. It's basically arse licking. That's what it is. And I'm not criticising Piers there. It's a style of interview where he very, very, very rarely really goes back. And with Ronaldo, absolutely no way he was going to challenge him on anything. So it's a very one-sided interview. And when you get a one-sided interview in life, remember the traffic light system: red for negative, green for positive, amber for everything in between. That interview was very green. Everything is Ronaldo's side. Everything is nice. There is no in between. And we know in life, there is always two sides to the story. So that was something that was stuck in my head. The most interesting things for me were about Man United and about his family. Everything else, I was like, I think that's just Ronaldo's perception. There's clearly another side to it. But what I would say is that the purpose of the interview, I said this afternoon, what was the purpose of that interview? And I'll ask you this. What was the purpose of that interview? And the purpose of that, because everybody's got a purpose to an interview. People who go on the Graham Norton show in November, they want to sell a DVD or a Christmas book or something. What was the purpose of that interview for Ronaldo? The purpose of that interview was to get out of Manchester United. That is the whole purpose. The purpose of that interview is to maintain a relationship with the fans, but get out of Manchester United. Numerous times he spoke about his love for the fans, his love for English fans, his love for the English community. But Man United, players, owners, managers got absolutely thrown under the bus. And that gets you out of the club. And that's what the purpose of this interview is. And I was very interested to see to what extent. We already know he goes in on Ten Hag. That's coming out tomorrow night. We already know he's gone in on Rangnick. We'll go into that tonight. We already know he's going in onto the Glazers tomorrow night. We already know, and he spoke about it tonight, the extent of how shit Manchester United is in his eyes. But tonight he also went in on the players. Everybody has got it. There is no going back to Manchester United. There is clearly an issue with Bruno Fernandes as well, which was hinted at this afternoon by Samuel Luckhurst. So there's absolutely loads to get into. But the thing that comes out for me, two things. One, this interview is to get out of Manchester United. And if anyone thinks it's not, I don't know what you think it is. And two, it wasn't really an interview. It was a chat between two mates. That's what it was, because there was so many times when Ronaldo said something, and I don't know whether he's telling the truth or not, where I wanted Piers to go, yeah, but you know what? This did happen, and you're saying that. There was no, we'll go into it. We'll get into it anyway. Says Lee, I think they released the clips to help reshuffle the interview parts to lead on emotions instead of starting with disrespecting people. Editing, says Sheriff. You know what? I sort of agree. I think if we'd only heard that interview today, we'd have gone, oh, there's one or two interesting bits in there. I wonder what's coming tomorrow. But we've had. I think we've also been given the best bits. I think that's a great point. I think we have been given the best bits. People all around the world watching this channel now, important to remember, Piers is hated in the UK. Google why. Ronaldo with any decent journo walks away with headlines of Ronaldo calls out Glazers, says James Clough. Yeah, I think, as I said, I think the interview could have been done better. So he was asked about the younger players and do they respect you? And he said, look, they live in a different world. It's not necessarily their fault. They don't have the hunger. They have things more easy. They don't care. And it's not just Manchester United. It's all the teams. It's technology. It's life. They don't listen. It's a shame. They could learn, but they don't. I learned from people like Roy Keane, Ryan Giggs, Ruud van Nistelrooy, Paul Scholes, and that's why I've got longevity, because I learned from them on how you should train and how you should conduct yourself. I'm the first into training and I'm the last to leave, and that's true. And the example is there. They look at it for 2 minutes and then it's gone. They don't do it again. Not many follow what I do. Most don't. And that is an issue. And that is an absolute throw the players under the bus. And I actually think he's probably right. He may well be right on that, but in its cold, blunt nature, that basically says I'm better than everyone in that dressing room. I work harder than everyone in that dressing room. They can't be arsed in that dressing room. They've got the wrong mentality. They don't have a winning mentality. They never will have a winning mentality. And, it's a joke. He's basically saying those things. He's saying, look, I learned from Giggs, and Keane and Scholes and Van Nistelrooy and all these greats, and that's why I'm playing at 37. This lot, you tell them what to do, and it's out one ear and in the other. You know, hardly any of them follow my example. Most of them don't. And he also said, you'll see that most of these players won't have any longevity in their career because they don't look after themselves, they don't train in the right way, and they don't know how to conduct themselves. And that'll be very interesting because in 10 years' time, Ronaldo will be long retired. But how many of these United players are going to play into their mid-30s? I already know. I could give you 4 names now that I look at them and go, you've got absolutely zero chance of playing after 34. None. You can just tell by their body types they are not going to play after 34. There's 1 or 2 who are around their mid-20s who won't play into their early 30s as well. Is that because of the way United have overplayed them, or is that because of the way they look after themselves? You know, I'm not far off Ronaldo's age, and I think it probably is a mentality. I think it probably is an age thing. From where you grew up. Like, if I had Ronaldo and I was 21 and Ronaldo was training at 37, I'd monitor everything. I know I would. A 21-year-old, I would have had a notepad and pen. And I'm sure some of you feel the same. The fact that Ronaldo is saying, I'm there for them to... They don't even have to ask me. They can just watch what I do. I'm first there, I'm last there, and my diet and everything like that. The fact that United players don't bother. But he did say it's not just United players. He said it's throughout the whole... You know, it's other clubs as well. It just shows you how society has changed and how the modern footballer has changed, doesn't it? And it goes back to Gary Neville would have been polishing the boots of Mark Hughes and Brian Robson. You wouldn't imagine asking a youth player now, go and clean Ronaldo's boots. Not a chance. I'm going to HR. Says he leads by.